Yellow. So, last time we solved turn around, and this puzzle gave me quite a bit of trouble, but I've been revisiting it, just sort of thinking about it on and off the past day or so, and even asked some people for sort of tips, sort of guidance, mainly mathematical intuition about what's going on here. And as it turns out, this level has quite a lot of intrigue to it. Or at the very least, like, the fundamental concept of it has a lot of intrigue to it. In sort of the same way that can be described for this puzzle too, but in this one, it's a little bit more prevalent, the intrigue that's going on. And I think today what I would like to do is, instead of continuing along the main path, I would like to revisit this level and go over the things I've learned since then, show you sort of how I can solve it more quickly now, and hopefully lead that into me solving the hard mode version of it. So without further ado, let's enter. So as you might recall, the goal of the puzzle is to just create a connected shape, and we can shuffle the rows and the columns as we desire. And if you might recall from last time, there was one key move which I was trying to make for a very long time in the puzzle, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. And that move was figuring out how to swap two pieces. So like, say that we wanted to exchange the positions of this one right here and this one right here. Like, how would you do something like that? And as it turns out, that's actually quite a hard question to answer. And there's two sort of different factors that come into play, but I couldn't have realized at the time, and I didn't have the necessary mathematical intuition to figure this out for myself. But the first thing of note is, like, with the fundamental concept of swapping things, like exchanging the positions of two things, you enter the mathematical realm of what are called permutations, where permutations are basically, you take a set of things and then you have operations which exchange them. So the elements remain intact, but they'll be in different locations. So that's what a permutation is. And importantly, the idea of just swapping one pair of things, exactly one pair of things, you can think of that as what's called an odd permutation. Basically, it takes one swapping to get you from this current column to a version of this column where those two are swapped. So that's an odd permutation because it takes an odd number of swaps. And then there's also things called an even permutation, where instead what you would be doing is performing an even number of swaps. And as it turns out, it's hard to explain like the full like mathematical under the hood stuff for why even and odd permutations like work the way they do. But the important part is that when you're shuffling a row or a column in this giant cube, basically you're always doing even permutations. You're always doing an even number of swaps. And you can think of like moving this to here, then moving another thing to here, then 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 to here, and then to here. There's always an even number of swaps happening that is required to get you from like the pre-shuffled state to the post-shuffled state. And the important thing about that is that since it's always even permutations, you're never actually able to reach an odd permutation, because an even number plus an even number can never be an odd number, just to put it simply. And what that basically means is that, in the conventional sense at least, it's actually impossible for you to be able to swap two things with just one row and one column. But importantly, that also hinges on the fact that both of the side lengths of this thing are odd. If either one of them was even, then that constraint would no longer apply, and we would be able to hypothetically swap whatever we wanted as we pleased. Anyways, now that lets us get into the next set of important stuff I learned, which is the notion of three cycling. So, even though you cannot swap two things, what you can do is you can shuffle the positions of any triplet of things. And this is different from allowing just a swap, since it's acting on three things and not two. And I'm pretty sure, again, there's no way to like combine a three cycles of different kinds to like equate to a simple like swapping of two. But let's just sort of demonstrate real quick. So keep in mind the corner pieces, specifically this one right here, this one right here, and this one right here, and how they're facing away from the center of the square, just so you can remember which one is which. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move down, left, and then up, and then right. And you'll notice that all of the things over here, which aren't the corners, remain the same. So only the corners have changed when I did this. And specifically, they all shuffled basically forward one in a cycle of three. So this was on the opposite corner. So it sort of moved diagonally down left, or down right. And then this one used to be here, so it moved over here. And then the piece that was here moved over here. And again, just to complete the cycle, the piece that was here moved down here. So that's a three cycle. And you can perform it in either direction, which is interesting. But there's still plenty more to learn. So it's around this point that I went down the deep end of exploring this whole concept, and the wonderful people who taught me about this sort of reasoning, I'd like to just sort of give a quick thanks to the Puzzlers Club community, since they're the ones who helped me go through all of this. It turns out that there's some pretty common techniques for dealing with puzzles of this variety, where you're sort of dealing with permutations, especially those regarding rotations. And the first sort of major thing is basically the concept of an inverse operation. Basically, if you move up, then there's a move that exists called the inverse, which lets you basically undo that move. And in this case, the inverse is a push down. And as you can see, that's returned it to its original position. And inverses exist for the left and right as well. And a little bit more interestingly, there's also the fact that if you apply this operation enough times, then it becomes equivalent to the inverse. So a single up push is also equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down pushes. And then if you do it a ninth time, then you're back where you started. So because of the rows and columns being length 9, and the shufflings happening one tile at a time, basically after you've performed 9 of the same operation, that's equivalent to doing nothing, basically. And if you do something say, x times, then that's equivalent to doing the inverse operation 9 minus x times. So that's just sort of a little intro to the logic here. So now, for the next concept, the fact that these inverses are actually quite useful, and importantly, they can be sort of they can be important for doing and undoing sequences of moves. So let's say that we moved up 2 and then right 3. And now let's say that we wanted to get back to the original state. What we would do is we would start by doing the inverse of the 3 moves here, and then following it up with the inverse of the moves here. And as you can see, we're back where we started. So importantly, any sequence of moves you can do, there's an inverse sequence which basically puts everything back where it was. And an important concept that sort of combines some of the tricks I showed with the sort of understanding of this whole like operations and inverses thing is that if you remember, our 3 cycles, they changed the locations of 3 pieces specifically, and everything else remained unchanged. And what that means is that let's say that you cycled just up once. So just remember that we moved up once. Now let's say we perform our 3 cycle, which just looks like this. And then we perform the inverse of that first move, and we move things back down. So now you'll notice that the 3 cycle, it has been performed, but it's acted on different pieces this time. Specifically, this piece, and this piece in the corner here. So this is actually a sort of general technique. If you perform a sequence of moves to basically get things into position, and then you perform like some special set of moves called like a commutator, which in our case leads to this 3 cycle, and then you undo or perform the inverse of the sequences you move to move things into place for that 3 cycle, then the 3 cycle pieces remain cycled, but everything else is shuffled back to where it was. And to sort of serve as a good demonstration of this, I have written for myself a pretty complicated paint document. So let's show you this real quick. So you can see here, I have sort of on the side diagrams for a set of moves that allows you to 3 cycle in one direction as well as the other direction. And then I wanted to see if I could apply this to the concept of swapping. And even though we can't swap things purely as a pair, what we can do is we can swap things if we have an extra set of things which are duplicates. And in fact, if you have just 3 of things in a cycle, but 2 of them are duplicates, then you can 3 cycle those and sort of change the position relative without, like, it's hard to describe, but basically, to explain this diagram, I had, like, basically the goal is to get from the starting state to a state where the 2 and 1 are swapped. And I wanted to try and combine that, or express it as a combination of different 3 cycle moves on different sets of things. So as you can see, 1, then 2 identical elements. If they get shuffled like this, then you get to this state. Then you perform this shuffle, and it gets to that state. And eventually, with those 3 like major moves, you get to a state where the 2 and the 1 are swapped, and the x's are intact. And in fact, the x's have technically also swapped, but since they're the same element, for the sake of the puzzle, it doesn't matter. And that's the important part. And I wanted to basically write down something which epitomizes like this whole way of thinking. Like doing moves in their inverses, moving things into position to cycle them, and then moving them back. And that's what you're seeing down here. is this interesting sequence, which is just read left to right. So like left, up, and then you see this power to the 3. That just means do up 3 times. And then R to the power of 2 just means do right 2 times. And then you have like the sequences for 3 cycling. Not expressed here is the inverses of these sequences, which you would basically get by just walking backwards and also doing the inverse of each move. So walking this back would be 2 left, down 3, right, down right. Anyways, so you might be wondering what that sequence even does. And to return to the game real quick, the goal here was basically to swap this piece and this piece. I wanted to see if I could swap those two while preserving everything else in the puzzle. And to do that, we'll also need the help of these two, which will also be swapped by the end of this, but since they're the same thing, it won't actually matter. So to perform a set of moves, first we have to move things into position for a 3 cycle. So that looks like left, up, left, up, and then right 2. And so now you can see in the corners here, there's a horizontal, then we've got the corner piece, and then we've got the other horizontal, and we're going to 3 cycle those, which looks like down, left, up, right. So now those have been cycled, and remember, everything else is still where it was before, only those 3 pieces have changed. So now if we undo the moves that we did to move them into place, which happens by walking back the initial sequence, which looks like 2 left, then 3 down, then right, then down, then right, you'll see that this has moved from here to here. And it's not that these two have been swapped, but rather that this, and this have been 3 cycled, just to keep that in your mind, because there is a meaningful difference. So next up, I believe what we wanted to do was move this into this position. Either that or we wanted to move this into this position. Doesn't really matter which order you do it, but let's walk through the sequence to get one step further ahead in this process. So now we will do left, up, left, up, right. So now those are in place. Again, look at the corner pieces. So there's this one, and then there's the 2 horizontal bars. And now we're going to do another 3 cycle, but in the opposite direction this time, which just looks like left, down, and then right, up. So now you can see that this piece has been 3 cycled here, and the 2 horizontal bars have been 3 cycled to those 2 corners. And now again, we need to move everything back into place. So we will walk back the sequence of moves we did to get those things into place, which looks like left, then down, right, down, right. So now as you can see, this is where it should be, and now all we need to do is 3 cycle this, and this. So to perform that sequence real quick, what we do is up, left, up, left, up squared, and right squared. And then we do our little commutator action, our little 3-cycle. And again, we'll do it in the first way and not the other way, the reverse way. So we'll do down, left, up, right. So those pieces have been cycled, and now to undo the move sequence, so we will do left 2, then down 2, then we do right down, right down. So right, then down, then right, then down. And now, it was a lot of work to get here, but as you can see, by doing different sets of 3 cycles and doing the important thing of like memorizing and then undoing the set of moves we did to get things into position for that 3 cycle, we have successfully managed to swap this piece and this piece using these 2 horizontal bars as helpers. So that's sort of the I guess sort of the general like core method of performing swaps like this. But if you remember, the very last thing I did before solving this puzzle last episode, it was something a lot simpler than that. And that is what I would like to go over now. I reviewed my footage pretty heavily to see what exactly I did. And it turns out that what I was doing was basically a 3-cycle move, very similar to like what we've been doing with these like down, left, up, right maneuvers, but in a lot less moves. And again, it was just cycling 3 pieces, which doesn't enable swapping in its own right, but it does if the pieces you're working with, at least one of them is a duplicate. So let's say that we wanted to swap this one and this one. So this horizontal bar and this T-junction. Now before we get to that, I'd actually want to look at the, there was another diagram I made specifically for this type of move. So to walk you back through here, so I called it sort of a hot swap method, but it's just another way of 3-cycling. It is important that the elements you're swapping are on the same line, and also that one of the pieces you intend to swap has a duplicate, which is also on that line. And the duplicate doesn't have to be a duplicate if your intent is just a 3-cycle, but if you want to swap something which effectively requires a duplicate, then yeah, that's how that works. Anyways, so the technique, it does involve 4 blocks, just like last time, and I gave them different labels. So there's the unique piece, which is one of the pieces we want to swap, and in a sense, it's unique. It doesn't look like the other pieces we're swapping. Then we have what I call the good twin, which is basically where we want to swap this with, and the piece in that place. And the thing about the good twin is that it has a duplicate on that same line called the bad twin, which is the exact same type of piece, it's just somewhere else. And then finally, there's a 4th piece involved called the collateral, which is basically just a different piece which temporarily gets shuffled by the maneuvers we're going to be doing. And then by the end of this little maneuver, we'll put it back into place, but these 3 will have exchanged locations. So, as you can see, I have the instructions down here. I'm going to return to the game to enact them. So, move the paint document out of the way. So, again, actually let's try a different set of pieces. So let's say that we want to swap this corner piece with this horizontal bar. So this would be the unique, and this would be the good twin. And then let's just say that this piece right here is the bad twin. It's the same as this piece, but it's in a different location. And then the collateral will just sort of be incidental. We don't really care what it is. It'll just be whatever it happens to be. So the first step we do is we queue up the bad twin in just any row. So we don't even need to use one of these middle rows. Let's just keep using this, this row and this column. So this is the starting configuration. So we're going to move the bad twin over there. So it's queued up there. And as you can see, this new corner piece has been moved out of place. This is the collateral. So now that the bad twin has been queued up, we're going to push it into the unique piece, which looks like that. So now the bad twin is in the unique place, which is where a piece that looks like this would want to be for this quote-unquote swap to be performed. So now we have 2 steps remaining. So now we want to queue up the good twin, which is this piece right here. And then finally, as you can see, we're queuing up our collateral, and we're going to push it into the collateral. So the collateral is now in place, and effectively, the pieces have been swapped. So, trying to figure out... Here we go. So as you can see, this piece and this piece have been swapped by performing this sort of method. And again, this is a 3-cycle method, not a swap method, but if one of the pieces has a duplicate, then you can sort of just interpret it as being a swap. So that's sort of the general way to swap pieces much quicker than before. And now finally, with that core move understood, let's try and solve this puzzle faster. So the first thing I did was I tried to solve the middles as quickly as possible, and there's not really a good, like, way to describe what I'm doing here other than just like, I'm queuing up a lot of things which just happen to be in the right locations, and then as you can see, now all the middle pieces are solved. And then next up, I wanted to try and fix some of the T-junctions, which are on the polar opposite sides. And I did that by queuing those up, and then pushing them from under, so they wrap around to here, and now they're all on the right side. And now we'll need to push the middles, like, back down. So we'll queue up the other junctions, and then push down, and push down. So that's those now. And to give an idea, so we got quite a lot of pieces connected here. So now what do we do next? Well, the simple answer is we try to solve one side and then we try to solve another side. And I believe that looks something like, trying to think. Ah, right, okay. So I went and moved these over to here. So now these are in location. However, we will need to do that at the cost of pushing these back into place, which does sort of upset the balance of some other pieces. But it's sort of fine because we will have a nice quick place to move them back. So anyways, now here, you'll see all of the T pieces are in place. So now I wanted to just sort of solve one row at a time, which looks like, let's see, let's solve the left side. So we would want to do that by inserting this corner piece where this corner piece is. So let's queue that up. So that's there now. Looks pretty nice. Next up, this is in place. And now we have 4 vertical bars, and we can just do our sort of insertion method to pretty quickly put those into position, which looks something like this. Do it again. Do it again. And then do it one more time. So now those are in place, which is pretty hunky-dory. So we have 1 row solved. There are still some issues, namely, this piece is out of place. These are all also quite out of place. But let's show a way to resolve this real quick. So I'm going to swap this piece with this one, and we'll do the method we did before. So this is the unique, this is the good twin, and we'll call this the bad twin. So we queue up the bad twin, we move the unique into place, we push it out, then we queue up the good twin, making sure I'm looking at the right piece here. No, I want to do it with this piece. So we queue up this, and then there was the unique piece, or the collateral piece. This is the collateral. We move the collateral back into place, and then we push like this. And just like that, we have fixed that corner, which is very nice. So now, I'm going to do a quick move here and insert that horizontal into that row. So that's nice. Now we need to get that corner into place eventually, which I think we can pretty easily do by doing this. Yeah, this is right. So now all we have left to solve is 1 column. And I believe the first move we would like to do is we would want to swap this corner piece to here. So we'll call this the unique, this will be the good twin, and this will be the bad twin. So we'll queue up the bad twin, then we push the unique into place. We store it there temporarily. Then we push the good twin into place. And then we queue up the collateral to be moved back into position. And just like that, this actually should solve the entire thing. So there you go. So that's a step-by-step of how to solve this a lot faster. And then obviously we have the oxids at the end. So yeah, and by doing that, and sort of, I had to do a lot of things actually to get this par time, but that was sort of the core of it, was learning how to do moves like that to easily insert and swap pieces into place. And after I'd mastered that, I had a lot, I wouldn't say easier, but I knew what I was doing enough to be able to like consistently beat this puzzle, even if I was like up 1 or 2 minutes on the par most of the time. And to get the par, I did sort of cheat. To show you what I did, I basically like, whenever there was a position where I wanted to like stop and think for a moment, what I would do is I'd press this screenshot button and then go into level info and click this. Although it seems that I'm using an older screenshot here. But I was using the screenshot feature as well as taking screenshots of my own to I wonder if there's any way to scroll these. But yeah, I was viewing my screenshots and using that to think, and then that gave me more time to act. And even then, I cut it really close with the par time. I was only on par by 15 seconds, which isn't a lot. Anyways, so that's the story of how I got good at this. And now, let's try to really put things to test with the hard version. So, last time I was wondering if, like, the only way that you'd be able to solve this is by pushing the, the 4 intersection points into place to, hit each set of 4 oxides at once. But I realized now, I'm pretty sure that, the only condition for destroying a puzzle stone is that it's connected and that it doesn't have any unconnected neighbors. So what I'm thinking is, if we created a similar sort of connected structure, but then when it comes to that gap in the middle, we just have a horizontal bar and a vertical bar, just sort of sitting naked, then that should theoretically still be enough to create the thing we want to go for. Of course, we're going to have a lot more difficulty shuffling things around this time, since we lose access to an entire row and column. But let's just try to work at it bit by bit. So, where do we want to start? I guess I still want to start by solving the middle pieces. So the question is, how will that work? I think I still want to do something like this. So those are moved like that. And then we push these into place. I guess we can even rotate like that. And even rotate like this. So how does this look? If we push these back into place... Okay, so some things are out of place here. But let's see if we can't resolve this. So we want to push up the cross pieces, then store them. Okay. So you can be stored here. Hear vibrations from my phone. All right, so we actually want it to be connecting to 2 horizontal bars, which I think looks something like... We'll insert this here for the time being. We're going to cue this, push it up, do this, and then push back down, and then push this back into place, and there's that cross resolved. Alright, so we're getting pretty good at this. So now we need to resolve this cross, which we will do by... this time being smarter about it, I'm going to cue this up here, and then we'll swap in that vertical bar there since it's doing just fine like that. And then just like that, we're back in a state where all we need to do is solve the outer ring. Now we will have a bit of trouble moving the T's into place and all of that, but there are still ways to do that. So it looks something like, we'll queue that up, and then push like that. Then we'll queue this up, and push like that. Queue this up, and push like that. So now all the bottom T's are in place. So now we want to get the vertical T's in place. So we'll just do this, and then bump down, so that's in place. Queue this up. So now this is in place. And now that's good. All right, so now we've got the bottom and top solved. So now we need to move some pieces from the right to the left. So let's make sure that, let's actually move this this one left T to the right side first. So that looks something like, we're going to move this out of the way first. Okay, all three of those T's are safe right now. So we want to replace this block with that one block. So we just move these into place, and then we do a couple of moves like that. We're going to move this back up for safekeeping. Actually, sure, let's start a little chain of sorts, pushing pieces into here to be reshuffled there later. Now let's move these back up. And in fact, also go ahead and, okay, we'll need to be a little bit more careful, it seems. So you go back there for the time being. All right, so I guess we'll reinsert that one later. This is acceptable. So now we can go ahead. Oh, nope, that piece is out of place now. Yeah, this is sort of the main difficulty, is that even when you're inserting pieces, sometimes you're moving things out of place as well. I guess let's just get started on this. I think we've moved some pieces a little bit out of place, but we'll have to deal with that later. So, actually, since that piece is already there, let's go ahead and bump this here. And then we'll go ahead and temporarily move this out of place, like that. Then bump this up, and there we go. So now that's inserted into place. And now what we want to do is get that upwards T back in place, which just looks like this. All right, so now what? So those T's are in place. Ah, right. Not quite though. So we need to still do this. Okay. So now things should be hunky-dory. And we'll just move the T's back into place like before. And do this. Okay, so all the T's are solved now. So that's great. So next we want to place our corner pieces. And some of them are sort of out of place, but we'll have to work with it. Where is... Ah, here we go. So this piece can go here, and then that piece can go there. And then let's start inserting our horizontal pieces. So one can go there. And then one can go there. And then one can go there. And now, just like that, we have one row solved. Now we need to perform a swap on this and this, so we remember our tech. So we'll insert the bad twin, then shuffle up, push back, hold on. We want to push that into the unique, right. So that's there now. And then we go to the good twin, we queue that up, we push the collateral, and move that back into place. Okay, so now that corner is really in place now, so that's really good. So now we want to, I guess we'll just sort of, how do we want to do this? I sort of want to swap this with this vertical bar, but we might have a bit of trouble doing that right now. So I think I'd want to introduce another vertical bar into this row, and I think I'll do it by replacing this corner. So for the time being, even though it's technically sort of messing with this side, we'll do this. So now, our goal is to swap this with this. So this will be the bad twin, and we will queue it up here. Then we move the unique into place. We push down. Then we want to insert the good twin, which was right here. So we want to queue this up, and then move the collateral into place. Do this. And now, there we go, that looks a bit nicer. So now we will go ahead and insert that horizontal bar back into place. And it seems we'll be able to do it one more time even. And we'll want to move this into position. Oh. Okay, I did not... Alright, I see. Well, I've created a fully connected shape, but I guess they really do need to be completely connected with no exposed endpoints. Alright, that's on me. Well, I did it anyway. So, does that count for something? Well, if that's what we're doing here, then... Do I seriously just have to, like, match 4 oxids at a time? Like... Trying to think. Yeah, I'm seeing no other way about this. So be it. Okay. Well, we can do this too. It'll be a little bit annoying, but just sort of a meditative sort of thing. So you can go there. Move you out of the place temporarily. Push these into position. Alright. First set of 4. What do we got? Red, green, cyan, black. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and move this down here. Let's go ahead and flip sides. So red, green, cyan, black. Yellow, blue, white, green. Okay. Yellow, blue, white, green. So not a lot of matching there, but it's better than nothing. Alright, so now we need to trying to think. Yeah, I guess our best bet is just shuffling things over here, one at a time. Let's actually move you out of the way. Then I'll push you down, push you down. Don't care about the other pieces, just want to get this into place. Alright. Then that. So that goes there. I've made a habit of letting go of my mouse whenever I slide into a block like that, just so that I don't accidentally like trigger a bunch of repeat hits. Okay, well, let's go solve red, I guess. So black, red. Oh, I'll take a free match. Alright, so this goes there for safekeeping. Move this, move this. That goes there. Move this. Not quite. Okay. So there's a match like that. And now let's go for the black match, I guess. I wonder if there's actually a nicer way to do this. So let's try this. Create like a horizontal queue. Then snake them along. Then do this. Looks like about the same number of moves. Maybe more or less efficient, not sure. Anyways. Just like that. Got another match. Alright. So I forget which pieces was which. I guess. Let's prepare to go down here. Swap you around to the under. Push you into position. And again, I can't do any wraparounds with these intersection pieces. Just because was it white black or cyan black? Well, let's solve the yellow, I guess. I should not be queuing that up right there until I'm ready. Alright, slow and steady. So I believe yellow was this one over here. Yes, okay. Then blue and white. Okay, so... So let's match cyan next. And I guess we can also try to match white along the way, if I remembered where it was. Was it here? Nope. Unfortunate. But let's go solve cyan. All the way on the other end of the earth. Alright, so you go there. You can be snaked along there. Alright, then we will go ahead and use this row to swap you, or column as it may be. Alright. Alright. Now to do it all over again. Alright. So let's go ahead and match blue, since I remember where that one was. That's not how that should be going, but... I seriously forgot again? Wow. Well. Oh. Wow. And I can't easily touch that one either. Actually, okay. Well, while I'm in the state of despair, I do realize something else. Which is that... I can use one piece in an interesting way. So whichever piece we trap on the outer edge, we can go ahead and get a very quick read of all of the oxides in that row. So there we go. So we can get quick matches like that. And then we'll go ahead and I guess I'll need to temporarily get this thing into place. So you can be moved over there for the time being. Then we will make this, switch sides, move over here, and see what the pieces are like here. Okay, not as lucky there, but that's fine. So next up, we'll do just what we were doing before. Okay, well that's lucky. Maybe we should actually play a little fast then, go for the par time. So what pieces are in here? We got a green, okay, green match, we'll take it. So we got black and white. And black and white are evidently somewhere in this whole mess. So now let's go ahead and cue these up right here. We'll swap you around to here. Push you over there. Alright, so will we get a lucky match in here? Okay. Well, we can do this, and then we can do this. Alright, that's promising. So now we'll do our same little shuffle. Alright. So I believe it's white and black. So we'll go ahead and solve black first, I guess. Actually, let's solve white first. Because if we have white dealt with, then we can actually do something a little special. Alright, so we do this. We do this. We do this. Shuffle like this. Shuffle like this. You move back down here. I moved that in the wrong place. Alright, fine by me. So we do this. Okay, we got a match. So now all we have to do is move that. Oh, right. Okay, jinkies. I think I missed the par time just barely, but that's how it's done. Alright, that's really unfortunate that I made that little mistake at the end, but par 5, dang it, yeah. Well, it is what it is. So, next up, we have Pentomino 1. So, to give some context, there is an entire like set of puzzles called the Pentomino level pack, and I guess it seems to be a space filling puzzle. 5 form 12. Okay. Not sure what to make of this. Okay. Oh, I see. So let's make various pentomino shapes. Okay. Well, we got a piece in there now. Ah, I see. Okay, so we're making things... Okay. So when we make a shape on the left, it gets imprinted onto the right. So that's what's going on here. Or not. What's making that funny sound? I mean, we can make all sorts of different shapes. And I guess as we make them... Oh, I see. I think the goal here is to form every possible pentomino. Alright, let's try to do that then. Alright. Let's make a long bar next. Then we'll make an L like that. Now I want to know, is orientability important? Not to this thing at least. So we've made 7 out of 12 shapes. So what else are we missing? Ah, alright. We've also got this sort of crowbar shape. Okay. And we can also, with our long bar, we'll accidentally bump those in the wrong place. But, alright, so let's cue you up there. So let's move something here now and do that. So that's another shape. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 more shapes to go. What do we got? I guess we've got a sort of Z shape now that we can make. Looks like this. So 2 more to go. Now we can make an M shape. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, but I think we're on the way now. Alright, so that we've got an M, and now one more shape. What could it be? What could this last shape be? I'm trying to run it all in my head. I don't think it's anything to be appended to a, like, 4 bar. How about an L? We've done this. 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 Huh. I mean, let's try to make her little, like, tree tap shape again, I guess. If you get the reference, then, good going. I swear to God. Wow. Alright, spawn your little shapes, buddy. I guess it requires me walking over there? Anyways. 5 bar. 4 bar with L. Four bar with piece there. Alright, what next? I guess let's go for the 3 bar shapes. So we'll make a T. Then let's make our tree tap again. Then we'll make our Z shape. Now we'll make our plus. It's actually kind of... okay. Should be able to make a plus like that. Okay, plus there. Sure, make our M while we have the opportunity. Make this sort of shape. Alright, then I guess we'll try to make the sort of long Z. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 2 to go. So I think next up, let's try to make our crowbar. Oh, we already made that. All right, so next up we make the C. All right, and then one thing left. Is it just the this thing? Okay. So now we can start solving Oxid. With all of the joys of random Oxid matching. Alright, level finished. That wasn't too bad. Indoor pool, we've already seen this one. Alright, so moving on from that, let's try Pentomino 2. by Enigma team. 2,339 solutions. Okay. Yeah, so here is something. So this is what I know the pentameter level pack primarily for, is these types of puzzles. So I think I vaguely remember the setup. So we have a button here, and when we hit it, it cycles through all of the different shapes. And if we press this button, it rotates it, and if we press this button, it flips it. So then what we can do is actually, hold on. So now the goal is to basically partake in this fun little space filling puzzle. And you might be wondering what these arrows are for. And if you pick them up, then they refresh. I think that's just a part of the puzzle and not like a natural mechanic. Anyways, yeah, you pick them up, you place them down, they start doing a little jig, and then they explode. And actually, what these explosions do is they basically allow you to move blocks like that. So that will be an important tool. Alright, so let's make another shape. How much space are we working with here, actually? We got 4 here. Then 5. Trying to use this as a marker. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so we've got 10 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we've got 60 spaces to fill. And we have 12 blocks with 5. Okay, so I think the goal here is to use all 12 of these different shapes to fill in the puzzle. So let's try... Try something like this. You can move on down here. Alright, what next? Sure, let's try this shape. You can go down here. That seems fine. Alright, so then long L. We'll save you for later. Still got our tree tap. Alright, so let's try... I think I want to flip this thing, actually. Okay. So that's like that now. Now how do we fill in that remaining space? I guess we'll use this T. Do we have any pieces which can deal with that thing on the right, is the problem. Don't think so. Okay, so we need to move this, actually. And I guess we have to put it, like, adjacent, like here. Sure, that works. Alright. So, what next? Sure, let's try it. I have a feeling this isn't going to end well, but we might as well experiment. Alright, so now we have our W piece, which is going to be a little bit unwieldy. In fact, I'm pretty sure our T piece is still sort of ruining things. So let's try... So you go in there now. Alright. So I guess next up, we'll do with the plus. Then you... I think we're about to hit on another conflict again. Yeah, this doesn't look very promising. Alright, I'm going to restart. Let's try to figure out the hardest pieces first. So let's start with the long bar. And let's just place it as far out of the way as possible, which is over here. Next up, we've got that. That is a pretty nice piece for space filling. So let's try to deal with the complicated pieces first. So things like this. And this thing especially. Alright. Getting into the trickier ones now. Let's hope that works. Alright, T-piece. I think I see a good place for it. Alright, seems good so far. So what pieces do we have left? That and that. This piece, right. Actually, got a great place for you, little buddy. Alright, plus piece. That sort of piece. Crowbar. That. Alright, so how are we going to decorate the rows, like the outer edges, actually? Like, this could go a few places, but it's looking like it just wants to be in this corner now. And there's not a lot of places where this plus can be, so I guess I'll move it where it wants to be inclined, which is down here. Although there are problems with that. Alright, let's move you out of the way. And let's move you out of the way. So something else needs to go there. What'll it be? The plus can't go there, so... if this went here, then we had space like that. Interesting. Well, you know what? Let's try it. So you're going to move back into place, funnily enough, but I guess let's try to see if we can't find some new way to deal with the plus. So now the plus doesn't have a lot of places it can go, though. And the other places need to be... Yeah, so the plus can only go here, or that's it. So... Okay, well, let's make the other pieces. So U. So plus here, cup here, and then this shape here. Sure. Let's try it. So next shape will be our cup. Let's go ahead and move the plus into position. Rotate U. Alright, so can we deal with this as is? No. These two pieces are very much not equipped for that. So the 3x3 pieces are quite annoying. Guess I'll restart again. So let's try dealing with the 3x3 pieces first. So I'll hold on to you for later. So let's make... Right, I forget that that's a thing that can happen. So you can go there. And then the plus, also quite annoying. You can go down here. Then it's looking like a rotation of U is one of the only things which will really suffice for here. A little unfortunate, but let's see if we can't work it. How about this? Certainly interesting. So if we rotate this, then do that. Let's try it, I guess. Kind of a silly place for you, but... Actually, how are we going to deal with this? I guess we'll put this there, something? Alright. Not quite liking how this is shaping up, but... Let's see if we can't do it. So I wanted to get the 5 bar in here now. So... I guess let's move this back for the time being. Alright, so long bar, where are you? There you are. Interesting little noise there. Alright, so you can go in there now. Do you work like that? No. So it has to be, like, sort of attached to whatever it's pulling, I guess. Alright, so now we'll push you down again. Alright, so what do we have left? You. You're quite an itchy one to deal with. So I think I want to do something like this. Alright, so what do we have left to work on here? This one isn't in a very good position. Yeah, it's really not. Well, okay, it could be facing down. So I'll store it for the time being. Then there's also you, though. And you don't have very many places to be either. Same for you. Alright, this is looking pretty nasty. Because the plus is the one shape out of all of these which can only be oriented in one way. There's very little freedom for how to engage with it. And none of the pieces we have right now work with it in that spot at least. Okay, so that plus is a really annoying piece to place. Let's go ahead and just get it queued up, like maybe ASAP. So yeah, let's just try to place things around that plus, I guess. Trying to think. Let's stick it on this side. Okay. Sure. Let's try this. So let's get our cup and wherever it is. Here we go. Goodness. Alright, so that's in place. We've got a bit of freedom for our next pieces. Sure. Alright, so what pieces are going to give us trouble down the line? I mean, honestly, it feels like all of them, because I don't really have any sort of like heuristic for knowing which ones will be troublesome to place at the end. Like, it feels like just fitting things together probably isn't strong enough to beat this puzzle. Like, T still has a lot of places it can go. Same with that. This, interesting, but you are also interesting. This, okay. I guess let's try to place pieces which probably won't cause us any issues down the line. Alright, that's interesting. Now, how do we fill in this space here? Because doing that is going to be quite difficult. Probably don't want to use that. I guess let's use this. Okay, an interesting combination just came to me. So you can go down there. Actually, not yet. So let's get our tree tap, wherever it is. You. Alright, so... we want to flip you, and then rotate like this. Flip like that. Alright, so you are... in here now. Alright, so... what do we have left to place? Yeah, probably not. Okay, so let's move these back out again. So we gotta come up with something a little bit better. Let's try you in here. Does that do anything for me? So T-piece here. The main issue right now is the Z piece, which would want to go right here. Maybe Z piece here, long bar here. No, that doesn't work. Alright, let's move these out of the way and try to flip this thing. So how do you do if you're down here? Very limited for the long bar now. I guess I need you to actually go like, in order for this to work, you'd have to be in this orientation. Do we think we're going to make anything work with this? I'm not seeing it. Alright, a slightly different way of thinking about this. Let's try to combine pieces which can only go together in a specific way. So let's say, like, something like this. That's not really doing much. Yeah, purely operating off of intuition here. We still need to place our plus, which is getting dicier by the minute. So one thing I'm noticing is, like, when we make a shape with like a hook with some space under it, we're sort of forcing some shape to be able to fill in that hook. Such as this shape right here probably wants to go here now. Alright, let's try another little combination here. Does this do anything? Oop. No, because this shape and this shape are in conflict. Unless we move this out of the way. Alright, so that's out of the way now. So I guess we'll be putting this down here. Alright. Definitely an interesting setup. So this is the only other piece we have left to place. Oh, this is not looking good. Yeah, the plus it doesn't have any place to go. Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. Every time I try to fill in the corner, the plus, like, completely ruins that plan. So the plus needs to be dealt with early on. Alright, let's queue up the plus early. So you get on out here. So how are we going to deal with you? Because we've got 4 things which need to insert around you. I guess let's try making it this. And we'll do the cup shape again. Since the cup and the plus they look like they want to go together. So, actually, I'm curious. If I do this, do they move? No. Alright. We've dealt with some of the more hooky shapes now. So what else do we gotta work with? This piece gotta go somewhere. This piece is gonna be weird. Okay, how are we going to deal with the top edge is the real question. And I already noticed that the T-piece is, again, very prone to causing trouble. Really prone to causing trouble, actually. Alright, well actually, okay. What it can do is go right here, where it's nice and comfy. Every way I could think of to fill in stuff with this uses a piece which I've already placed. You're a problem. Can't solve this. Wow, this is a complicated problem. I think I'm gonna have to leave it there for today. Guess I'll hope that I hit upon a revelation for this eventually, but until next time.